Okay, so one of the coding concepts that I wanted to talk to you about today is I wanted to talk to you about making your code better. And what I mean by that is not making your code perfect, but making it better. I think that there's these two kind of opposing ideas. There's the idea that you want to try and do the absolute best that you possibly can when you're working on your projects. And I think that that's some good advice, but I also believe that there is a different type of philosophy that can also be utilized that is also kind of useful if you think about it. And the other type of philosophy is making your projects just a little bit better than they were yesterday. So, for example, if you make your code just a little bit better today than it was yesterday, if you learn something, let's say, like, for example, let's say, you're doing everything with functions and you say that you want to start doing everything with objects and classes instead, or you want to try and name your variables better. That's a lot easier than trying to make everything perfect all at once. And knowing that, we're human beings, we're not perfect, even if you do your best to make it perfect and you move forward with what perfection is in your mind that day, that doesn't mean that you're not going to learn something and make it basically inferior tomorrow, if that makes sense. So, if you find out a better way of naming variables, then on your next project or from today moving forward, you can start naming variables better. And that's like this idea or this concept of making things 1% better every day. And I think that that's more powerful than trying to get everything perfect off of the bat, because if you get just a little bit better every day, the curve of improvement is exponential. Every day that you get just a little bit better, it's going to make all of your projects way better into the future. Whereas if you try to make things perfect from the get-go, it's really just going to slow you down. And your project that you're working on, you may never end up finishing because it's never going to be perfect. So I think that people need to realize that the way we have to operate is with the idea or the concept that we are imperfect and we're not going to be perfect, and we need to embrace that. We need to embrace the fact that we're not perfect and come up with a system that helps us to improve with that reality. So, for example, one of the things that I hate about watching YouTube videos is I hate it when people's audio quality is terrible. And this entire time that I've been working on this YouTube channel, my audio quality has ironically been terrible. And I never liked that. And I decided that today I'm going to start trying to improve my audio quality by putting these headphones and microphones. And that one little thing is going to make my videos better. At least I hope that it will. And if I can continue to make those small little improvements every video, then this YouTube channel will become a powerhouse. and because of that degree of 1% improvement every time. So, and one of the things that I really want to get better at are the things that I do want to get really good at are the foundational kinds of things. The stuff like the lighting, the camera, all that kind of stuff is stuff that is like basically technical, and I know that I can figure that stuff out, especially since, I know quite a bit about photography and that kind of thing. I've spent quite a bit of time doing that. So I know the technical aspects of how to get a good shot, but even with that, I'm just sitting here in my car talking to my phone, even though I do have a nice camera and I have nice lighting equipment. But that's not what it's about. What makes or breaks a YouTube video is the content. And so that's the part that I want to start getting good at. And I think that there's the similar kinds of things that exist in code too, is getting the foundations right, making sure that you are working on the things that are actually important. And we have to do that. We have to try and work on the basics. When I was learning in martial arts, they kept saying you have to drill the basics. The basics are the most important. It's like blocks, punches, and kicks. Those are the things that you're going to use in a fight 90% of the time. So why would you spend so much time learning all of these obscure techniques that only work in certain scenarios? You have to learn the stuff that is going to be extremely useful in most of the scenarios that you would need to use it. It's a concept that I think that is really important. I think in coding, there's no exceptions. There's like the basics of everything. And you got to learn the basics of coding, variables, functions, math. It's all right there. And I think that if you do learn variables and functions, you have like 80% of what you need in order to code. And, you have this idea about like classes and objects and all of this kind of stuff. And those are very important coding concepts. But the truth is that if you know variables and functions, you can get away with a lot. There's entire schools of thought on programming that are like, yeah, we don't need all of these objects and classes. We'll just go with variables and functions. And that's one of those things that, you got to get back to the basics, which is what that whole movement is about. I think that I do need to dive into objects and classes more because it's something that I don't use very much. I'm still kind of new in the programming space, and the only places that I really end up using, like as stupid as this sounds, the only places that I end up using objects and classes is when I'm interacting with other people's code, which in a way is kind of annoying because I was working with sprites, eloquent models in Laravel, and they have these getter and setter methods that they didn't. I wanted access to a variable that was a protected, not a variable, whatever you call a variable inside of an object or a class. I don't remember what it is. But it was protected and I didn't have access to it. I'm like, this is stupid. They don't have a getter or a setter for it. It was what it was. And that limitation made it so that I couldn't do what I needed to do. And I thought to myself, man, this would be so much easier if I didn't want to write a whole new method to change the functionality of the the thing, it was just kind of annoying. Anyways, I'm rambling now, but I just wanted to get those thoughts off my chest, and I'm made it to my destination, so I will talk to you guys in the next video. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment. I do reply to comments, so yeah, leave a comment, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Cheers.